oyinza okumala gagimuwa osooka mubuuza ki
omala kutegeera kukubye yali azimbidde byakoze ebbanga
makati gwe bakuwa emmotoka nga bwe wali okoze emmotoka ki mu transport basooke bagikuwe
anti kakati tewali insurance companies insurance zigira comprehensive weziri ekyo kyekikolebwa Kenya
weewa okola ensobi emu buuza oyige insurance yakuyamba kubafaringa risiki kakati kyekyo lwaki mupakuka oli n'agamba kakati nze nalabye mu Amerika ng'ennyonyi bw'eba ekulesse bakuwaamu endala naye bo bali balina ennyonyi mmeka mpitirivu kakati toyinza kweteeka ku ikonomi ya Kenya naye affe naye slowly we shall grow kyova olaba njagala nnyo managing expectations kyekyo lwaki walonze omulundi gumu olulala n'oganyiza n'obutabiddamu because you're not managing your expectations kakati kiweewo kyali clearing agent mu bwangu ogwo oyagala kudduka weewola emmotoka in fact gwe baakutaasa sooka concentrating ku mulimu gwo ogw'okubeera clearing agent ogwo expanding to create wealth you have to do one thing concentrate kuba obadde toyina singa ogambye nti bwe nabalaga mbadde ne cash flow nga nakola kampani ya transport ngera kwenjagala naye kuyaabwe kwoyagala okuyigira osooke weewole fuso ate muoba oyigira transport bwabeera tandika ne bodaboda oba tandika ne taxi gy'osobola oba tandika n'emmotoka gy'osobola bo balabe nti ng'olaga cash flow nti owaaye nti emmotoka eno gye nagula $224,000 bw'esomba ebikuta wano ku kyalo oba yeesomba kasasiro mbusiya endeetera buli mwezi $6,000,000 nabo bwe banaatandika okulaba nga $6,000,000 zitambulira ku akawunti yo nga bagamba ddala be bajja n'okukubira mu bbanka nti owaaye kiweewa tie tusobola okuwa emmotoka ya $2,200,000 naye gwe oyagala gavumenti ennyambe eyo gavumenti tegenda kujja bwana kiweewa era nze sobola kulimba nti ŋŋenda kubeera ngaawo ŋŋambawo emmotoka nga muziibulayo bwewo zimutya nti ez'emmabanja wewale
naye ompitangako
kale nja kuyita kiweewa ayagala omuyita annyonnyolwe bannange KBS media lwaki onyiigira kiweewa KBS media kiweewa tomunyiigira. That is the level of patience as leaders we must exercise. Bugalole.
Nedda mulungi mwakutanya nsonga muwo obudde alabika anoonya location.
Akasooka agifune nze naamugjawa. Ndabya abakambwe bangi awo. John Bosco asinziddewa.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam. Ruto ogamba ki?
Je ndi honorable.
Omuwulidde KBS.
Badde muwulidde KBS abadde busy kyekali mu kuvuga.
Kiweewa omuwulidde obadde ogamba kise?
Mukulu Kiweewa njagala gye mu office. Njogere naye kubanga neighbor wange wano ku office ebusiya.
Obwedda ayogeranga naawe olyawo.
Anti nze saagala bya bulimba.
Esebo.
Let him come, we talk and tell him what to do.
Amukomyewo Kiweewa komawo neighbor Wuuno. Okomawo neweekwasa.
Kubanga I just a block away from my office.
Kiweewa yitawo. Kiweewa bakulina wano.
Ali off, I think.
Kiweewa komawo sebo.
Mr. Honorable, omanyi twagala kwogera, we need to give people the right information.
Kiweewa kwoli ne Ruta Wuuno kwali mwembi muli Busia.
Omusajja annyonnyole we nnimbye.
Piki, let's start with the business wise.
Piki yasene mmeka?
Piki ya 155.
No, you are lying.
My friend.
Tofaayo Kiweewa kasita mwenna muli Busia mpola mpola.
Alimbo oyo.
Anti kati Zofaayo Kiweewa obugunjufu bugamba olinda omu n'ayogera naawe nodda.
Kale nsirise Honorable.
Piki ya Kenya tesobola kubeera ku million 2. You know, we need to speak the truth. Fine, ziriwo nyingi mu town, but it is not at 2 million, as you were saying.
Lwaki ziri nyingi okusinga eze Uganda?
Ndindako Kiweewa ekitufuula ab'enjawulo. Leka ndindako Ruta ayogere ensonga.
Please listen. Sooka owulirize Mr. Brian. Omanyi omuntu wakugamba nti bali bawangudde kubanga there was something that was there. Even if you go and show your presence somewhere, it does not mean that you have failed. You have been there. You are learning something. Honorable has been teaching people something, but you also go and find out. You go and make research. Picha eno sawa ziri ku sente meka. Byendi kwogera mbikakasa twaise na wiiki emu tubadde twagala funa piki. Mr. Brian, byendi kwogerako mbikakasa.
Ye piki gye mwogerako kikaaki?
Bajaji, no more bajaji. So Mr. Brian, wadda mu bintu bya loan, economy ya Kenya teringa ya Uganda. First put that aside. The other economy is so big. Exports ezaffe zikuze. What Honorable was telling you is right. So when you come to tell people some things about us, don't put us down and you think the Kenyans are so up. We are improving, we are going there. And we are coming. The government is hard because there are some things that are not right, but we don't need to blame everything. We are part of that problem. And we need to streamline the things. If there are people are doing that business that way, we have not reached there, but we are going there. Before Mr. Chiwewa, he used to do a lot of imports coming in. But there was a time you're doing a lot of exports. And you proved me right, you are part of that business. In the clearing fraternity, we used to do very many imports. Right now, there are very many exports. You yourself, you're in an export office.
Wanji?
Honorable, wetugamba nti exports, oyo mwami akola exporti. Amutegeera nnyo n'okutusinga ffe tukola imports. If I'm speaking lies, let him prove it.
Kiweewa export.
Yes.
Kamubuuze. Kiweewa oli wa export oba bakuwaayiriza? Kiweewa amwami muting oba abuze. Genda maaso.
So, the economy is not right. We are trying to learn. But we don't need someone to demoralize others. I believe Mr. Chiwewa is an agent who knows what is right and wrong. You bring in things and you take out things. The economy of Kenya allows their citizens to do that because that's the way they do their things. We don't have those companies that can assure us with such guarantees. But you can go and get a loan somewhere and they will give you a vehicle, Mr. Chiwewa, if you can pay for it. There are companies that give. But those are private companies. They are not government companies. Mr. Honorable, nze mbadde njagala just clearing out. Things are okay. Tusoma tuyiga.
Ruta olonderawa.
Yes, please. Nze nondera Tororo.
Oliwe Tororo.
Nze nondera Tororo. The other year, nalondera Kampala. But since I shifted back home, I changed to Tororo. Kubanga, I want my vote to count.
Oh, yes.
I need my vote to count. Kubanga, we vote the leaders who are with us. I wanted to go back and vote for you, but right now I am here and I want my vote to count from here.
I know.
Things are not right, but we are going there. And I want you to be there because...
So, bwe tutuuke ebusiya tukunoonye.
Nze nina ne number yo.
Neyanziza sebo. So thank you very much.
I have you.
Both of you and Brian have been of good, you know. Kumwenna tekuli mukyamu. Mwenna mwagala akulaba Uganda.
Twagala kukulaakulana ffenna ate twagala ffenna tubeeremu n'akasente. Mission kasente mu nsawo and helping others. We want to improve.
Kwegamba bwe tukola ekibiina tuteekeko akabonero ssente ttooke. Buli omu anoonya
ttooke. Buli muntu anoonya ttooke. We need to survive.
Kwegamba akabonero k'ekibiina tuteekeko ekizike ekinene nga kiri okwo tugaye buli omu anoonya kizike. Engeri gy'olukubawo mindset ekizike k'emitwalo 5.
We tuteekako ekizike, people will think we are looking for money. But we want people to learn and improve themselves.
You're not looking for money. Of course, they would not gazette Chizike because it's one of the national animals. But I'm trying to send you one like you said. And that's what everyone looks for in the world.
Bro, we all want to be right. We all go into these classes, your classes, because we want to be right. We want to do right things.
All right. Allow me to mute you and ask Bosco to make his contribution. John Bosco.
Honorable Nkubuzizako sebo.
Osinziddewa.
Nze nva Isinjiro Mbarara.
Isinjiro ni mugamba ki?
Isinjiro twine kabi turi Kiriya.
Muri Kiriya murije?
Turije. Honorable njagala kutegeera. Ori serious oyagala kuja oba just
gwoyagala ki?
Nze njagala ozije. Nze nkwagala ng'omuntu kubanga tukuraba
Uganda oyagala ki?
Twagala ozije.
Noyenda nkole ntya?
Ozije.
Ayogera mu Lunyankole yiwe.
Nitwendo yije.
Noyenda nyije.
Nitwenda obe president wihangere but twagala ekintu kimu Honorable kisinga okuturuma fenga abana Uganda.
Naye gwe Isingiro obeerayo oyinza okuba oyogerera Dubai.
Nedda. Isingiro njagala komawo Uganda December.
Anti owulira.
Kitwagala fenga abana Uganda. Kitwagala omukulembeze wetwagala kati. Ekisooka twagala parliament eyo ba MP mukendere. Ekyokusatu ba minister abantu baavu lwasonga MPs ministers abatarina kati parliament MP bitano meka kati zo sete zona mukendeze ba MP abantu emisoro ekendere Uganda enyume ekisingo kunyigiriza abana Uganda emisoro
n'omuzungu azze Wuuno kiwedde ensonga zimaze. Hi, how are you?
Sir, I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just in a class of political mentorship. How are you? How were the elections in the US?
Oh, they're done. They're done. We're done being a world spectacle for a little while.
Uh-huh. everywhere in the world, everyone was focused on the election. Anyway, because your country controls the global media anyway.
You know what's interesting? I was in Vietnam. I don't know if you know or not. I was in Vietnam last month.
Yeah.
And I was with somebody in Vietnam, and she was saying to me, she is a tour guide really in Vietnam, and she was expressing her interest in our elections. And I was really surprised at who she was hoping would win. And it was not who I thought people were hoping would win. She was really he was hoping for a Trump win. And I thought everybody hated Donald Trump. And she was telling me that it was interesting. It was crazy to me. But it's behind us now. It's over. It's over. We're done being the spectacle. How are you today, sir?
I know your candidate won.
What's that?
I know your candidate did win in that election.
Oh, I was taught at a very young age. Never talk politics or religion.
I don't know. Unfortunately, it's something we are talking about because I'm talking to my constituents over here and my people in Uganda. But I listen. I don't want.
When are you running for president over there?
You want me to run?
I mean, I don't really have any skin in the game with Uganda, but it seems like you're an absolute shoo-in. It seems like you're a shoo-in. Like people want you.
You
Am
want
I right?
to run? What would
What's
you
that?
wish for? What would you wish for? I know you're not a voter, but what would you wish for?
Muhammad, I have said for some time now that your country. Okay. I'm going to lead it with this, that I consider you a friend of mine. Okay. I've got no skin in the game with Ugandan politics. I just know you as a person. And I have said for some time now that the Ugandan population is fortunate, blessed to have you in their government. So if I were to say something, I would say that, yeah, the world needs more people like you.
All right.
How's that?
Thank you very much. I'm humbled by your comment, and I mean, it's your opinion. Who am I to say no? And I believe globally, if we came together, we can do a lot through globalization, mainly in healthcare, disease control, investment, transboundary technology, innovation and research. These are things that can bring the globe together. Global security, respect for human rights, improvement in education. I believe there is a lot we can share globally by learning from one another. Cultural exchanges, etc. Probably when you visit Africa and you visit that other side of the globe, there is a lot. There is a lot. We can all come to learn from one another, the diversity in our cultures, beliefs, but there are things that unite us, you know? Like if COVID did not show anyone that the whole world could go on its knees just because of the scan, what else should show that? And of course, different situations and circumstances breed leaders, and definitely it's one of those. But look at how technology is bringing us together anyway. Innovation, technology, and when we talk about digitization, it's like how many people would have had the opportunity probably to listen to a gentleman like you who has been a living success story of someone that has beaten type 2 diabetes and is giving people encouragement that, listen, through diet and some medical precautions, people can beat type 2 diabetes. And even when Ugandans cannot access you, maybe physically, which was not there before, they can access you digitally. And they can come into your class and associate with other people, probably even create new synergies, new friends, open up new frontiers, and give themselves new challenges. But what would bring us together is this app that is called TikTok.
It's crazy.
That actually members of your political class have voted to ban. Crazy.
It's absolutely crazy to me that I can have a conversation with you. You're on the other side of the world right now.
Absolutely.
Are you still in Kenya or are you back in Uganda?
I'm in Kenya. Stacy Quest, how are you? I'm in Kenya now. I'm in Nairobi at the moment.
Stacy, meet Muhammad. Stacy is on my team here in the United States. Muhammad is, and I was talking to somebody. Muhammad asked you to translate because of my English.
Yeah.
And I guess so. If somebody can translate, what I'm suggesting is that I think this world needs more people like Muhammad. I think this world needs more people like you. I think you are an amazing leader. And of course, I'm saying that with no skin in the game. I'm not there. I don't see your policies, or I don't live your policies. Okay. I just see the man that I see. And I see what I know is a guy who cares about his people. I know this for a fact. And you've expressed that to me privately. Look at that. He is the best leader. He is the best leader. You look at your people. They're backing up what I'm saying right now. They're backing up what I'm saying right now. Am I hearing Muhammad? Is there? Look at this. He's doing it too.
But they also understand you. They were actually joking about not understanding English. Like over 60% of our population can actually understand English. The literacy levels are getting higher. And basic literacy in our country is basically numeracy and English, the ability to speak English. That is at elementary, or what we call primary level of our education. But talking about, basically what you're talking about is how can we make our continents better? Not to see that our people just continue on the massive movement away from our countries to other countries looking for greener pastures. And for example, I would be very proud if one of the pharmaceutical manufacturers, like of the Abamateti and those, let's say I can talk about what, like multivitamins and etc., can come and do open up a pharmaceutical, not only research company in Africa, but also a production line. Listen, the whole world at the moment consumes more than $1.7 trillion in form of medical pharmaceuticals.
It is a huge number.
It is a huge, massive. Now, if we are to build a synergy with people like you that are in healthcare, what would I be planning for? Produce more chemists, biochemists, produce more pharmacists, people in medical research. I know medical research is extremely expensive, but let's start with the generics. Africa alone, both from aid and importation of drugs, imports drugs that are more than $300 billion every year, every financial year. So that is the whole Africa combined. But globally, it's insane. And listen, if we look at the indices to show us which countries produce the biggest number of pharmaceuticals, you look and get surprised. China, India, the Netherlands, France, Germany, they don't consume all these pharmaceuticals. And in the world of the generics, yes, there comes Smart America, because it has come to play the lead of the world. And anything that is not satisfied by the FDA, listen, even if the World Health Organization stamps on it and the FDA is not comfortable, I mean, it's not going to be sold anywhere because the biggest market is the market of the United States of America.
And let me just tell you how we feel about the FDA.
I know you feel a lot about it. I want to, but in reality, it helps you, give you a global edge over others. It may have some shortcomings, but it gives you a global edge over other players in the world. But what am I trying to say, Jim? This is what I feel for my continent. This is what I feel for my people. There must be something that we can easily do comparatively and cut an edge to improve our balance of trade. And what can we do easily? You can produce chemists. First, solve the problem of your own internally so that you import less of pharmaceuticals. During COVID, I didn't know, and this was true, Uganda used to import, sanitizer that is used for medical conditions. But when COVID struck, people improvised ways. Now Uganda is exporting sanitizer. Latex gloves, those gloves that are used for surgical purposes and in healthcare facilities. Now we have a production line because necessity is the mother of all innovation. When everyone held back on what they had, we learned how to produce our own masks. We can produce gloves at the moment, and now we are exporting. We can produce, and this is what we are saying. If we can concentrate and stop relying on handouts, then that can give us the innovative edge and encouraging young entrepreneurs, startups in manufacturing from cottages. So the inclination would be, what is it that we can export probably to the US? Get a US company. You don't need to go so far. And create a partnership with it. And you say, you know what? This is what we have. Look at what the Germans have done with companies like Pfizer and others. Those partnerships in big pharmaceutical companies and giants is where we are saying that our government must run business on a model that is economic. The economic model? Like, if the political class could reincarnate itself or create itself into a class that runs the country as a business model, then there would be checks and balances and accountability. Because as a head of state, then you consider yourself as a CEO. Would you be a CEO when you have a cabinet of 80 people? That's a board of advisors. You definitely understand and say, listen, this is too large. You need a parliament of 546 people, probably bigger than the Congress and the Senate of the US combined. This is the size of the parliament that we have. It's so bloated. It's huge. Yeah. So the cost of public administration is so high that all the burden will end up being levied in form of taxation on the ordinary person. And I understand their call. But the reason is basically one, is we do not think of running these countries in a business model. Would it be harder if you wanted to invest in my company, let's say per se, and I want to float it for shares? Would you be comfortable investing in my company if, for example, my wife was in charge of the treasury, my daughter was in charge of accounts, this and X, Y, and Z? Would you invest in that company?
It would seem like, I don't know.
Because the level of exposure would be so high.
Yeah.
Because these are the key questions that investors look out for. And they would ask you, listen, the level of exposure is untenable. And this is what we are trying to say, that with due respect, we can do a lot, but we want to compete. We don't want to be global slaves. We don't want to offer our services and come on our knees I want to be your partner. And you remember, even when we were doing business, I've never asked for you to employ me. Have you ever heard that from me?
No.
The only thing I want to hear is we must create partnership.
Okay. So this is, I think, Muhammad, and this is, and I'm going to say, you know, we don't talk as much as I would like to. I enjoy talking to you. Right? We text back and forth. We don't talk as much as I would like to. But what I would say that I get from you is a true belief in your people. You think this is what it should be. A leader should want best for their people, right? I want the leader of my country to do what they can. They should want the best for us. That's why we put them there. I think you are doing exactly that for your people. Okay? And what I see when I listen to you is a thought process of, okay, what do we have to do to elevate?
Yes, absolutely.
What do we have to do to elevate? I have heard you, the pride that you have in your coffee industry. I remember you telling me about your coffee industry. It's the best coffee in the world, Jim.
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about your tech sector.
Yep.
Right? I've heard you talk. I've heard you talk about your exports, and now I just heard you talking about even more. That hey, necessity is the key for innovation, right? That's what drives innovation is necessity. Your people adapt and overcome. What I just heard was confidence in your population of saying, hey, we can figure this out. The U.S. is no better than us.
Yeah.
The U.S. is no better than us. We can do the same thing. And I love the fact that that is your mindset. I love the fact that that's what you're trying to lead your people to understand. That's what we all need. We all need that. And when I say that the world needs more of you, that's exactly why. That's exactly why. And to everybody who's listening to this right now, when I say that I have a lot of love for Muhammad and Nsereko, I consider myself very fortunate that I can even have this conversation. I consider myself fortunate that I can even have this conversation. And Muhammad, as I've grown a little bit in my role, I want to have a conversation with you, kind of behind the scenes. We need to have another conversation, okay?
I absolutely thank you. I'm humbled, and I would like to say why not. And something that hurts me, and something that I would like to see. We have a lot of intelligent young people, and if I were a leader, is give them the opportunity. And what am I trying to say? Globally, the leader in the health sector of the world globally, with the biggest market, with the biggest form of research and innovation, is basically true. It's China and the United States. Okay, so what do? If I want to run the best curriculum at the moment, I would have to tailor it according to education curriculum to what is either in South Korea, the United States, or China, based on what? Innovative technology, mixed with production. Pick the version of China that talks about effective production and skilling. They don't have many degrees, they have many skilled people. By 16 years, you must be able to produce something. Americans, they share with you that dream of being a capitalistic economy with that idea of you have to fight it your way up. Do it yourself. They are not socialists. You won't wait for government to come and help you build your own house. Listen, there are jobs there. Go work. Do it yourself.
Go get it.
Go get it.
Go get it.
Yeah, but these things of, oh, wait, you'll get something for free, it's not going to be there. And this is what I want to preach to our people. if we are to
And if it is there, if something does end up being there, it's not going to be what you want. It's going to be what they want.
Absolutely. So I would like to say that, of course, I thank you for me from the perspective of health and Medicare. I learned a lot about you, digital marketing, and how you've built a network. Like you extended the invitation before, I will come and meet the fellowship of the people that are involved with you in this global network for healthcare, and give my ideas without selling my soul. And you know how passionate I am.
Yeah.
I'm African. I'm blessed and I'm happy with what I have, and I've always told you that. And I'll tell you the beauty that is in Uganda. Listen, you might have extremely nice roads, but those roads can be found anywhere, and we can even put them home. But we have the silverback gorilla. You can never have it there.
I can't have that.
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying. If I have 1 million people that can come from the United States of America every single year to visit Uganda and have a look at the silverback gorilla and spend over $3,000, I would be banking another $3 billion for my economy. And if I can attract over 100 million people that can visit my nation, basically to see something that they cannot see anywhere. Look at how China promotes the panda. And it's a national asset. And it's something they have to exchange with the US. And a day is given for this panda to be, launched in the zoo in the US. Oh my God, in the zoo. And this is what I mean.
Yeah.
And what I'm telling you is we have the silverback gorilla, the next animal that thinks like a human being. And what I'm talking about is that animal that you can come close to. And all I need is to have someone that can take a decision that one of the biggest clubs in the United States, for example, an NFL club, a club in the football league that wins, should just wear something that has visit Uganda, visit the silverback gorilla. And for that, you will have every single game it's playing, and even to its followers that will buy its jerseys and all its merchandise, 400+ million people. That is a simple promo and ad. Enjoy the coffee, visit Uganda, and enjoy the silverback gorilla. Creation of awareness. And now, smart way of promoting a nation. And before you know, everyone will be asking, what is this Uganda? And when everyone goes to read about Uganda, then they'll go to that story. And then the coffee. So, put it in football, put it in the National Football League, go for baseball. So, through sports, you have attracted that. Sign of stars. Those with labels. And get that done. Help our people to learn where the US has been strong. And that's what we call the Jewish dream. Probably you've not understand about it. And people despise it. And I honestly tell it to the people. It's about what we call smart innovation. They don't own anything physically, but they own the patents. The intellectual property business, right? How? I'll give you an example. China produces the apparels, like this shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But Ralph Lauren owns this label. You understand?
Yeah.
And if China produces this t-shirt at about $10, this guy just adds this label for loyalty and gets another 60 quid, $60. Why? Because they knew the power of marketing and branding. So, you might think they earn more, but why are there rich people? Those that benefit from intellectual property. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
The owner of Nike is not the key manufacturer in the factory of the apparel. But if you want to use their label, then you have to pay. The same as Adidas. And that's why they enroll stars and others to sign exclusivity contracts so that they also wear those brands as brand ambassadors. So, for as long as that person owns the intellectual property, and that's where people were asking, how come in the production line in the USA, there are less producers of pharmaceuticals? And I told them exactly yes, but they own the patents to the generics. Cancer research medicine, HIV and AIDS, etc. Because they understood the issue of intellectual property. Maybe abali kuno kamba nnyonnyole in our language. Intellectual property kye ky'obuyiiya bw'omutwe. Bw'aba music, bagiyita copyright. If it's your music, then they say copyright. So for anyone to play it, they should be able to pay. So it can be in form of trademarks, logos, etc., or even formula. Different formula or different, innovation, intellectual property. So, should our education system, with the transformation in technology, and this is what I'm trying to tell my countrymen, focus on the most important things required by a human being to survive. And what are the basic things? One, primary health care. Helps you for your survival. Okay? Yes, history can help you. But what is the benefit of me studying European history that I studied or American history? Why was I studying the Canadian prairies? Do you know that I had to study the Canadian prairies in geography in my country?
I see that statement right there.
Exactly. And I have them in my head, such as Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Manitoba. I don't even know whether they exist anymore. I had to study the St. Lawrence Seaway, the Great Lakes, Ontario, and this and this and this and this. I mean, the Grand Canyon. Why was I studying this? What benefit does it have to do with me? Why did I study the American War of Independence? I even know the year. It was a 7 years war. And for me, in order to enter law school, I should have studied European history and studied how the French went to liberate the Americans in the American War of Independence. And listen, that is why you would be considered intelligent in Africa, that you would have an account to talk about European history and talk about Napoleon Bonaparte and talk about the French Revolution and talk about, in geography, the Panama Canal, that in Panama they built a canal and X, Y, and Z.
I don't know how you feel about this, Muhammad, but the only thing I care about history right now is to learn from it. I want to know what we've done wrong in the past. I'm fascinated by things like, I don't drink it, but I'm fascinated by Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Okay. In the early 1900s, their largest competitor was going bankrupt. Pepsi Cola was on bended knee. They were going bankrupt. And Coca-Cola Pepsi approached Coca-Cola and asked them if they would acquire them. And Coca-Cola said, why would I buy a losing company? And they walked away from the deal. Pennies on the dollar. They could have bought Pepsi for pennies on the dollar. And they forced, you talk about, right, necessity is that drives innovation. Well, Pepsi Cola was like, well, that didn't work. I guess we got to figure out how to survive ourselves. And they went on, and now we've got a lesson of necessity drives innovation. They figured it out pretty dang well. Now they're bigger than Coke. And Coca-Cola, one of the biggest marketing blunders, that's arrogance at its finest, right? They had an opportunity to not wipe out their competition, but to absorb them for pennies on the dollar. And they were so arrogant, they thought, no, you're going to just go away.